Welcome to the coding challenge, where you get to see me praying that my code works.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Today we're making the snake game. You know that game, where you go around eating things to grow bigger and avoiding obstacles until you become so fat that you can eat like 5 trucks at once. Now, before we start, I may have to show you some tricks. We will work with movement vectors. Basically, at index 0, we are moving down a row on our map, which is a matrix. At index 1, we are moving a row up on the map. At index 2, a column to the left, and at index 3, a column to the right. Based on ASCII codes, these movement keys from our keyboard have these integers assigned to them. Our objective is to map them to 0 up to 4, respecting the order we used before. And this is the formula, which was found by trial and error. It only works for these keys in the specified order. Here's a proof that this works. Now, rather than making your head explode due to too much code, I will explain using visuals how the tail movement and spawn works. The only thing we have to observe is that the tail follows the head. Basically, starting from the bottom of the tail, each point becomes the one before it. At the start of the program, I declare the variables we need to work with. A map, which is a 2D array, or matrix as you wish, the movement vectors, some characters which we want to avoid when spawning, and a function which validates if a thing can be spawned. And at the end, I made a variable which keeps track of the tail size, and one which holds the current score the player has. I made a structure called player, where we hold info on the player's tail. After that, because C++ doesn't have a function that copies a vector's elements to another, I had to improvise for this one. And then, a function that checks to see if an item can spawn. We spawn two random numbers between 0 and 19, our map is 20 by 20. And we check if at that point on the map we have something we have to avoid. If we don't, we return those coordinates. And the function which spawns our items. It basically calls canSpawn until it can actually spawn, and then assigns the values on the map with the item, and the function initialize, which initializes the map. It creates the borders first, then spawns the player, increasing the tail and keeping the coordinates, after that spawning the food, and in the end spawning the obstacles. And now, the reason you're here, the snake update tail function, which starts from the bottom of the tail and copies the points before to the new ones. And the movement function, which takes the current coordinates the player has, being able to modify them, searching to see if the upper character entered is A, S, D or W. If it is, getting the index, holding the new point, checking if the point is valid. If it is, the end of the tail disappears, being shifted to the one before it, and so on, using the update tail function, updating the coordinates of the head, setting the head on the map, and if the new point we found was a collectible, food, we spawn a new one, increase the score and the tail. If the point wasn't valid, we return false, which will end the game. And at the end, if the player pressed enter, we exit the game. And that was basically it. The rest is just using what we've done to make the game working. Besides that, I made a list of choices handler, which is dynamic, but I may cover it in another video, since I may change some things for it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this coding challenge video. If you did, drop a like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.